The most wonderful time of the year. Although, let's be honest, around the holidays, things really add up. But here's the good news. Only at Verizon, you can get a single line for $50 per month when you switch and bring your phone. So, while ice skating for two is definitely costing more, here at Verizon, you can save. Gifts for your third cousins? Steep. A single line with Verizon? Not so steep. A real tree? Pricey. A single line with Verizon? Less pricey. Flights to see Mima and Pops? Those are up. A $50 per month single line? That's down. Even a trip to the Atlanta holiday market will cost you more. But with Verizon, you can switch and bring your phone for just $50 per month for a single line on unlimited welcome, with autopay plus taxes and fees. All this to say, during the holiday season, when everything is costing more, you can get more for less right now at a local Verizon store. $15 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G, 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply. The most wonderful time of the year. Although, let's be honest, around the holidays, things really add up. But here's the good news. Only at Verizon, you can get a single line for $50 per month when you switch and bring your phone. So, while ice skating for two is definitely costing more, here at Verizon, you can save. Gifts for your third cousins? Steep. A single line with Verizon? Not so steep. A real tree? Pricey. A single line with Verizon? Less pricey. Flights to see Mima and Pops? Those are up. A $50 per month single line? That's down. Even a trip to the Atlanta holiday market will cost you more. But with Verizon, you can switch and bring your phone for just $50 per month for a single line on unlimited welcome, with autopay plus taxes and fees. All this to say, during the holiday season, when everything is costing more, you can get more for less right now at a local Verizon store. $15 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G, 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.
And boom!
Common man, no show prep, no solid plan. Spins a yarn, begins a tale. The esoteric approach won't fail. Tune in, it's time for Common Man. Common man, charms the housewives like no one can. What'd you shoot? Where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Oh boy! Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
It's like, hello?
Only able to regroup, then it's poked away by Burke, who takes over. Pushes it up ahead to McGregor. Holy Cross coming down with a 3-on-2. McGregor from the right side, centering feet. Oh my God! Puts it past Matt Wade, and Holy Cross has knocked off the Minnesota Golden Gophers! Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Yes! Oh my goodness! We're not going home yet, baby! Just 53 seconds into overtime! And the Holy Cross Crusaders are mobbing Tyler McGregor and Tony Quesada! It's the second chance! It's the second effort! And it goes in! Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Yes, I do! Holy Cross has shocked the world right now!
Okay, calm down. Seattle's a tough guy town.
I'm confident that we'll be world champions. That's what I've said right from the start, and I'm still confident of that.
You know, sometimes when you practice, you'll set up chairs. You know, and you run through chairs just to show zones and stuff. The Viking defense looks like it's chairs.
Got right edge.
San Diego, oh, the San Diego. Superchargers, San Diego. Superchargers, San Diego. Superchargers. Now what do you think? Somebody's in the back.
He's the clown from Brown.
Cool,
He's
too.
the fourth in the north.
Was not anymore,
This
Papa.
is the common
That would
man,
be
Dan Cole.
Dak, and Dak, act to you and yours. BJ Flex Show, special edition, bowl edition of BJ Flex Show today. Then yesterday, of course, it was the regularly scheduled Ben Johnson Show. Tomorrow at 12 noon will be the Bob Motzko Show. And then Friday at noon, we will have the Scott Armstrong Show. The Scott Armstrong Show.
I always love that one.
You're supposed to ask, who is Scott Armstrong?
Who's Scott Armstrong?
He's the crew coach for the University
Of course I knew
Minnesota.
that.
He's the rowing coach. He's going to go, and what we're going to discuss with him, I'm going to ask him, it's go, row. Isn't that what the one guy says that has a little megaphone?
He just sits there.
That's a good gig to have. Row your boat gently down the stream. So
Do you think Scott Armstrong finishes his interviews by saying, row the boat, Scout-Ya-Ma, go Gophers?
that's what he should do.
Yeah. That would make more sense.
That would make more sense. Do you think that he's ever offered up to, hey, you need a couple of extra oars? I got plenty in our boathouse for you. But anyway, so it's a good thing, and it's what we do here on the Fan is we do coaches show, and we certainly enjoy it. I just don't think this Vikings club is getting a lot of respect right now across the country. Have you noticed? I mean, I know that we're highly regarded, but I look at the power rankings. You know, I'm a big power ranking guy. Power rankings, and it's almost like we don't exist. You're CBS Sport. No, this is their CBS Sports. How about this? They have a computer, much like our excuse computer, right? Can you hit the excuse computer sound effect once? Anyways? Sure. We should bring this bit back, and it was created in the last 20 years. So CBS Sports has a playoff computer, predicting the playoffs. And in the AFC, they think the Chiefs will remain number 1, Bills at 2, Steelers at 3, Texans at 4. Those would be your division champions. And for the wild cards, they think the Ravens will be, or the computer thinks the Ravens 5, Broncos 6, Chargers would check in at 7. NFC, what do you think the CBS Sports computer has as the number 1 seed in the NFC? According to their computer, they fed all the information, strength of schedule, games remaining, probably turnovers, third down conversion, the whole thing. Who do you think they have?
Just their prediction of who will be the number 1 seed?
That's the computer. Who will be the number 1 seed?
I would say Philadelphia.
They do have the Philadelphia Eagles at number 1. Who do you think they have at number 2?
Detroit.
Are you looking at it right now? Is that what you're doing? Or are you
No.
just guessing? Why would they have Detroit? The Rams at 3.
Well, that doesn't make as much sense. They're talking about, but it'd be the 3 seed. Because
Yeah.
The
Buccaneers 4 and the Minnesota Vikings 5 at the wild card. Here's what it says. With the Lions' loss on Sunday, the Vikings are suddenly in a spot where they could steal the NFC North. Minnesota wins out, then the Vikings will take home the division title. However, the computer doesn't think that's going to happen. The computer has only given the Vikings a 28.6% chance of winning the NFC North. And that's mostly because the Vikings are tied for the most difficult remaining strength of schedule of any team in the NFL. At Seattle, home to Green Bay, at Pontiac at the litter box.
It's a tough stretch.
Yeah, is it really a tough stretch?
Yeah.
With Seattle? Did you watch Seattle on Sunday night? That's not a good football.
I don't think Seattle's elite, but they're not. It ain't the Jacksonville Jaguars you're playing here. It's not the Tennessee Titans.
I don't think the computer takes injuries into consideration. Am I overrating this Lions injury thing? Do we think that it's just like next man up and they're not going to have any troubles? I think they go 0-3 the rest of the way. Your mama can't stop them. Your daddy can't. The opponents. Your mama can't stop them. Your daddy can't stop them. Police can't stop them. Detroit can't stop him. Though I did see where, you see Danny Campbell's pep talk?
Yeah, I sent it to you, yeah.
Yeah, did you send, because I saw it actually, I didn't know you sent it. When did you send it to?
I texted it to you. Did I?
No, I don't think so.
Maybe I thought about texting it to you and I didn't.
Yeah, maybe that's what you did because I don't see it here. Maybe you did, but I saw it as well, actually. And I do appreciate when you send me things, but I actually had seen that one prior to.
Yeah, I sent it to you yesterday.
I
also sent you a text of someone stealing your material on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. Which one was that again?
They tweeted that the Bears aren't that far away and then did the old new owner, new president, new GM, new quarter. We're just one quarterback away, 3 wide receivers.
Seriously.
That bit.
They stole that bit. You know who else stole a bit from it? You know who Adam Carolla is?
Yes. He
apparently said, ABBA is the kind of thing you don't tell your friends you listen to, but then you crank it up in the car.
Sure.
How many times have you heard me say that? So, yeah, and of course, we already know that McAfee uses the Grum and all that. Yeah, the Danny Campbell thing is, Dan Campbell's Lions are ravaged by injuries. Can he still get Detroit deep into the playoffs? I say no, but Campbell apparently, he's got to say it, right? The next man up, no one feels, he says, where's the quote where he talks about no one's going to feel sorry for us? It's here somewhere. Here's what he said. If you have to ask how he might respond at a moment like this, he goes, what happens is you get used to eating filet. And I'm talking all of us. And everything's good. Life's good, but you forgot what it was like when you had nothing and you ate your bleeping molded bread and it was just fine. And it gave you everything you needed. Sometimes you got to get punched in the mouth and remember what it used to be like to really appreciate where you are. We'll do that. So we've got a bad taste in our mouth. We got kicked around the other day. We lost a few guys, and you know what? It's exactly what we needed. This is exactly what we needed. So we're going to bounce back. We're going to respond. We got guys that are about to have an unbelievable opportunity here, and we will play the game any way needed to win. Yeah, it all sounds good. That's the kind where, it's the who dat Saints, and then you charge out of the tunnel, or the classic. You've played it many times, the soundbite from Animal House where Belushi says, was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Who's with us? Yeah, and he runs out of the Animal House, the frat house, and nobody follows him because everybody knows it's a lost cause. But yeah, the Vikings and the power there are, and I understand power rankings are power rankings. They really are relatively meaningless, but. CBS Sports has Chiefs, Eagles, Bills, Lions, Vikings at 5, and then the Packers. That's your top 6. ESPN's power rankings, they have Eagles, Chiefs, Lions at 3. Buffalo Bills at 4. Buffalo over. How are Buffalo? And I'm not just going by. Well, they beat them, so they beat them head up, so they should be better. I mean, I think that says that should be factored in, but they've got the Bills at 4, and then the Vikings at 5. USA Today, their power rankings, they have Bills at 1, Eagles at 2, Lions at 3, Packers at 4, and then the Vikings at 5. Your thoughts? Packers 4, Vikings 5. I know you're extended family member. Your master control supervisor. Would you rank the Packers over the Vikings right now?
So, just so we all know, Packers have 4 losses, Vikings have 2, correct?
Correct.
And I believe these two teams played each other.
Correct.
On Green Bay's home field.
That is correct.
I believe the Vikings won that game. So, no, I don't get it other than I think there's a lot in the national media that goes off of Sam Darnold's reputation. Right? Like if you're living in Boston.
Right.
You're not watching every Vikings game. So you really don't know how well Sam Darnold. You might catch him a time or two on national television, but you're really not watching him game in, game out. So they still think of that's the old Sam Darnold.
Right.
The old Sam Darnold will emerge. Let's go with the team that's got a little more equity in the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. Kansas City, this is Pro Football Focus. We've not used Pro Football Focus's power rankings. Chiefs at 1, Eagles at 2, Bills at 3, Lions at 4, Ravens at 5, Vikings at 6. We can't get over the 5th spot, tend to be in the National Football League power rankings. And then the final one we'll look at here would be your this is NFL.com's power rankings. Philly at 1, Buffalo at 2, Kansas City at 3, Detroit at 4, and your Vikings at 5. So they seem to be pretty settled in. Across the board of the 5 we looked at, 4 had Vikings at 5, 1 had them at 6, 1 had the Packers over the Vikings. It's all controversial, and I've got other controversial Vikings news other side of the break. Mark Rosen, I saw him here already having his lunch. He will join us just right about 2 o'clock right here on the Fan.
Head over to NFLShop.com for the largest collection of officially licensed gear from all your favorite brands. NFL Shop is your ultimate gifting destination for jerseys, t-shirts, headwear, and more. Take your game day style to the next level with the best selection of NFL gear anywhere. Show off your team pride this holiday season with styles fit for the whole family. To shop now, go to NFLShop.com.
Hey, join Bumper to Bumper's Justin Guard this Saturday at 6 p.m. at Tom's Watch Bar for a KFAN viewing party. We'll have all the games live on the big screens, delicious food and drinks, and your chance to secure exclusive KFAN swag. Get all the details now at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
It's a Wild Wednesday here on The Fan, sponsored by Jim Beam, the official bourbon of the Minnesota Wild. We have a pair of tickets to give away tonight's critical game against Florida. They're the defending Stanley Cup champions.
Hashtag because it's the Cup.
Because it's the Cup, so we're going to give away a pair of tickets. Not now. Don't call now. But stand by. We'll give those away a little bit later. Speaking of the Wild, you'll hear that game on this radio station tonight. What time is coverage tend to be? I know I'm not supposed to ask that. Abbott gets mad. Why didn't you ask him that question before the show? Because I didn't think I was going to talk Wild until right now, and I know they're playing Florida.
I was just impressed you knew their opponent.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
A win.
I'm sorry, I don't know when the face-off is. Can you tell me when it is?
It's a late start tonight, even though it's at home.
Okay.
It almost feels like it's one of those April-May playoff series games where they make us have to stay up till 8:30, 9 o'clock to watch a game, even though the game is at home. 8:30 start, and it's an extended pregame. I believe that starts at 7.
Okay.
That'll be, I believe, Fallness and Zach Halverson tonight.
We are the hockey version of the Detroit Lions, right? 5 players listed as out for sure, right? Eck, Gus, Middleton. Who else? Who are the other? Lacko, and is it Trenlin?
I think he's questionable.
He's questionable.
I could check to see if there's been anything recent on him, but
since
yeah, it looks like Trennan's not playing tonight.
I think it's Trenyon. I think that's the way it's pronounced, Mark.
Toes.
The Wild are 3-3 in their last 6, and that's all without Eck. Eck makes a big difference, does he not?
Well, it makes a huge difference.
I mean, he's their best center on the club, right? He plays center.
Best center, not even close.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a very quality offensive player, but he's borderline elite defensive player. So when you're playing teams, that's the guy you're throwing out against their top line. Specifically, when you're at home, you can match up lines. So when you're up against McDavid and Draisaitl like they were the other night and got ran out of the building, Not saying he completely changes the course of that game,
Correct.
But he's the one you're throwing over the boards against McDavid and Draisaitl and can help contain them a little bit.
Do we? And again, lower? Do they distinguish? Do we know if it's lower or upper? They do say that in the NHL, right? They will tell you what half of the body.
That's all they'll tell you.
And what is it with Ek?
I have forgotten because everything's lower body and upper body. Sometimes I just kind of blur them out, and it's not a distinct. I thought I remembered it being a lower body. It did sound like though he has resumed skating.
Yes,
I think we saw that news today, so that's good. That's a good sign.
And Gus is also, if I remember correctly, I thought Hines said, he doesn't think it's going to be too serious, right? But he's missed a couple games, and Flower gets the nod tonight.
Fleury
right?
tonight.
You go with Flower just because do you think at this time he's better than Ballstead still? I know he's legendary. He's Hall of Fame. Where is he now? Is he number 2 on the starts list? Did he just pass?
I think so, yeah.
So it's like number 2. He's won, 2 or 3 cups. I mean, he's a hell of a goaltender. Do you think he's lost anything at all, or do you think he's basically the same?
I think he's had a little bit better year this year than he did last year. Last year did not have a great year. His winning percentage has been good this year. The games he plays, he's won a lot of those starts. His numbers, not on Gus's level, but have been more respectable this year. I was actually surprised when Wallstedt did get the start the other day because I know Fleury had played, I think, the game before, but you call up Wallstedt, 24 hours later, he's in the ice having to play in the net against Vegas. It does show you that, Fleury's up there in age and they don't want him playing 2 games back to back and wearing him down. So,
could this be part of a respect thing too? We're playing the defending champs. We go with the veteran. We go with Flower.
I don't really know. It's hard to know what you have in Wallstedt right now because he's considered the top prospect in all of the world. Mm-hmm. But his start in Iowa this year was not good. He had some rough games, some rough patches. His statistics were not good. Now, the couple games leading up to his call-up, he had improved. He had a shutout during that stretch. But, there was even the story, I forget if it was the Star Tribune or the Athletic that I read that had talking about just his mental state. And he called it like a low point of his life, low point of his career, that he just was not processing the goaltender position well enough mentally. Hopefully that's turned around, but it's a little bit concerning. When the confidence goes.
Peek at the Purple, brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. Remember, no job is too small. They pride themselves on being your old home specialist. Invite Affordable to your home and let them conduct a whole home electrical safety inspection. Reach out to them today. That would be affordable-electric.com. Remember, Affordable Electric, shockingly affordable. Not only are we talk about the Vikings not getting a lot of respect. I mean, I guess when you're ranked 5th or 6th in the National Football League, you're getting some respect. But the Green Bay thing is a little, and I guess Detroit. But I look at it where they're at, and maybe I put too much. Somebody even texted me and said, "I'm putting way too much into this Detroit stuff." Injury stuff. He says, "I know you're trying to be realistic about the Kitties, but I think you're laying it on a little thick with your prognosis. It's not like Detroit lost 20 players to IR all at once the last game. They've been injured for a while now and have continued to win games. Their offense is still largely healthy. They've put up 42 points on the Bills shorthanded. Where's the hashtag faith? I feel for the Kitties' bad luck, but collectively Lions fans are hosting a pity party right now. Fire up the Al Stewart. It still may be the year of the cat. I guess it could be, but if you think I'm laying it on thick with the injuries, I know this is a Viking thing, and we're talking. This is Lions lair on the fan, but they're the team we're trying to catch. You could almost field a starting defense of Lions players that are out indefinitely or on IR. Defensive end Aiden Hutchinson out. Defensive tackle McNeil. What's this for? Alim McNeil out. Kyle Pico, defensive tackle, out. Marcus Davenport, defensive end, out. Linebacker Derek Barnes, out. Linebacker Alex Anzalone, out. Linebacker Malcolm Rodriguez, out. Cornerback Carlton Davis III, out. Cornerback Ennis Rakestraw Jr., out. Safety Afitu Melifonwu, out. It's 10 guys. We're not laying it on thick. Vikings tend to be, the postseason awards, I don't know. I don't take them too terribly seriously. I mean, it's sort of like power rankings. They're kind of they're fun to discuss and talk about, right? It seems as though right now, KOC's, I think, the front runner for Coach of the Year. Would you agree with that? I think he's front runner right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think even from an odds perspective, I think he's now the favorite from the Vegas books.
And as long as the team continues to play like it does, I suppose if they lost 3 straight, they might change their mind. But I don't expect 3 straight losses. I know MVP. I guess it's got to go to Josh Allen. My guess is Darnold will get votes.
He should.
Do they do a Defensive Player of the Year? They do that, right? Would Grenard
should get votes?
Do you think he should get votes? And then what about...
I was just thinking about all the potential Pro Bowlers we're going to have on the team, right? Like Jefferson will be one. Darnold should be a Pro Bowler.
Right.
Grenard should be a Pro Bowler. There's 3 minimum.
How's about Addison? Is there a possibility? His numbers are good.
I don't think Addison will.
Okay.
It's always hard to know with offensive linemen. But, Brian O'Neill.
Yeah.
Maybe he could be in the mix at right tackle.
He's apparently, I saw...
Heck, Van Ginkel. His stats are worthy.
I saw
Bynum.
Josh Metellus.
Yeah.
Maybe they should just send the entire Viking defensive unit.
And our long snapper goes every year. So, I mean, we might have 8 guys on there. And our kicker.
And do they also, if they have an offensive player of the year, right? So, like, it could be...
Sure.
The MVP could go to Josh Allen. Darnold could get offensive player of the year, correct? Possible?
That would be weird to have a different offensive player get the MVP and him not.
But it could, right?
Sure.
Because they might want to separate, much like, remember when LaBelle caught all the heat for not voting for Pedro MVP? Because, they already got the Cy Young Award winner. So, there are probably some people that say, well, if Josh Allen's MVP, he's got to be Offensive Player of the Year, but I would bet there would be voters who'd want to separate that. But that's neither here nor there. What is wild today, and by the way, Peek at the Purple brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. Shockingly affordable. Tenby, take it away with Wild today.
Yeah, this is Wild Today brought to you by Jim Beam, the official bourbon of the Minnesota Wild. The Wild host the defending Stanley Cup champion, the Florida Panthers, tonight at the X. Minnesota will not have Jule Arseneck, Jake Middleton, nor Philip Gustafson in the lineup tonight. Marc-Andre Fleury will get the start in net. The Wild's penalty kill has been struggling lately, just at 60% over the past 6 games. Head coach John Hines talks about that, PK.
When you go through and you look at what makes a good penalty kill, it's you have to be intense and good in the face-off circle. You have to be able to clear pucks when you have opportunities to clear pucks. There's detail that comes to that. You have to be able to pressure if they beat your forecheck into the zone, shots, bobbles, pucks on the yellow. All those components need to be better, and we need to coach them better, and we need to be executed better.
Wild versus Florida tonight. Puck drops at 8:30. Extended pregame starts at 7 p.m. right here on the Fan. That was Wild Today, brought to you by Jim Beam, a crowd pleaser since 1795.
Head over to NFLShop.com for the largest collection of officially licensed gear from all your favorite brands. NFL Shop is your ultimate gifting destination for jerseys, t-shirts, headwear, and more. Take your game day style to the next level with the best selection of NFL gear anywhere. Show off your team pride this holiday season with styles fit for the whole family. To shop now, go to NFLShop.com.
The Fan and Shields want to make your holiday shopping a little easier this year. Whether you're shopping for the perfect gift or treating yourself, this is a contest you don't want to miss. Head over to our contest page for a chance to win a $450 gift card. That's KFAN.com. Keyword contest to enter.
Lion's Lair continues here on the Fan. There are people that get so bitter about things. This one says, that guy accused you of throwing a daily roster pity parties. Correct. The Bills beat you. Now, I wasn't on the field last I checked. He's one of those guys that does the we, they thing. Like he's part of the club. Of course, he probably wears a jersey to the game, so maybe he does think he is. The Bills beat you, and believe me, we all know your Lions first and foremost. Most of their starting defensive backfield out of the game. Listening to you recount your roster of woes every day makes us all just wait and wish for 3 o'clock. And he's speaking for everyone, all of us, he says. So I gave him the Rodgers thing. I spelled out, relax. It's just radio. Calm down. Do you think if he had the genie's bottle and he rubbed it, the genie popped out, his first wish would be, I have 3 more wishes, and his second, that would be 3 o'clock already? Do you think he'd use one to get to 3 o'clock? Does it bother him that much that he'd use one of those wishes? Because, like, for me, I'd use a wish right now that it's 3:05 Sunday, Vikings versus Seattle. I would do. Actually, I would like to rub the genie's bottle, ask for 3 wishes, and then my first wish would be for 9:50 Thursday, December 26th, when I'm on the first tee at the JW Marriott Palm Course. That's where I would use my wish to be there right now. I would use my wish to be at that golf course right now. And then here's another one. You'll like this. First of all, Darnold will not get MVP votes or win Offensive Player of the Year. Barkley would likely win the Offensive Player of the Year, assuming MVP will go to a quarterback. That's true. He probably should, but we're not getting any respect. Also, you're speaking as if all these 10 Lions defensive injuries are irreplaceable. Maybe 3 of those 10 would be considered hard to replace. We all see what you're doing. You're attempting to pull off the age-old reverse jinx. What's the age-old reverse jinx? What is that? I don't understand. Is that what I'm trying to do? I don't even understand what he means by that. Is that what I'm doing? Is that what what does that mean? What does that mean?
Well, I guess like if you were jinxing the team, you'd be like, Lions are going to the big game. No one's going to stop them. And then you're somehow jinxing them and they're not going to win because of some comments you made on the air.
Well, I did that for 14 weeks. I said the roar has been restored. Your mama can't stop us. Your daddy can't stop us. The police. Because for 14 weeks, I believed it. But now I don't. He says maybe 3 of those 10 injuries, those players would be easily replaced. Huh. Okay. Let me look. Run defense, Lions 6th in the league. They must have some pretty good defensive players on that club if they're 6th in the league for run defense, don't you think? Scoring defense, Lions are 7th. It's pretty good. Those defensive players must have been pretty good. Red zone defense, they're 8th. That's pretty good. Third down defense, they're number 1 in the league.
That's really good.
That's really when you're number 1 in the league. So in other words, if they were so easy to replace, how did those guys that were easily replaceable able to establish those kinds of numbers, all top 10 numbers in all the important team defensive categories?
Easy to replace Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, it's just so simple. Yeah. It's just it's like leave the sports analysis to the experts. And that would be Tenneby and I and a few others. That's about it. Just leave it to us. A couple of things I want to bring up. First of all, the O'Neal thing. It sounds like he's going to play. O'Connell said, yeah, he's going to rub a little. He's going to eat some dirt and rub a little Robitussin on it. Leads to that age-old question I'm about to ask you. And I know your answer, but I want to discuss it anyways. I just saw on there's some show called Hot Tea on ESPN or something. They have 2 guys. I don't know what they are. But the question was, because I saw it on the crawl, do you sit Mahomes the rest of the regular season? Because he's got the bum ankle. You've got, I don't think you've got, you're close to having the number 1 seed wrapped up, right? I mean, because Buffalo is the only team.
They're 2 games up on Buffalo. The problem they do have is they would lose that tiebreaker because Buffalo defeated them.
That's right.
And Mahomes was a full participant yesterday, which surprised me a little bit when I saw the injury report that he was a full participant. So that would lead me to believe he's going.
Right, he's going. And I think you're of the opinion, because we've had this before, and I think you and I, this is where we kind of diverge a little bit. And I don't think you're set in stone, it's black and white, but you figure if you can play, you play.
I would say if you can play without making it worse, right?
Okay.
And I'm guessing an ankle injury would be one of those, it's just you're just handling the pain of it, right? It's not like it's not a hamstring where you're at the risk of tearing the thing and being out longer.
There is
they'll wrap it up in tape.
Yeah.
Throw a little injection in there.
Right. Does it make him, though, less mobile and more susceptible to being blindsided and destroyed? That's the other thing you have to take into consideration. I tend to agree with you in the case of Mahomes. With O'Neal, I don't know. Now, when he's out, you saw when he was out of the game, we were having trouble on that side of the line. He's one of the best defensive tackles in the league, according to offensive tackles, according to Pro Football Focus, according to coaches, players, general managers, hot tea, everybody. Right? They're all saying. A lot of people are saying that he's one of the best, if not the best, right tackle in all of football. Knee injury always makes I get shivers.
Yeah.
Knee, So, but I guess if the mobility's there and it really doesn't hamper him, I guess you play him because the games are important to the Purple at this point. You'd much rather be the number 1 seed than the number 5 seed because if they don't win the division, I think they drop to 5, right? Automatically, because if Detroit wins the division, it's going to be
4 division winners.
Detroit and Philadelphia. Yeah, you jump. So there's a big jump from 1 to 5 because at 5,
you're on the road all of a sudden.
You're on the road, and would you be on the road for every game? Could you meet the 6th seed?
Yeah, you could.
7th? You could, but chances are you won't. Right?
Your next game would not. You'd have to go to the 4 seed.
Okay.
Your next game, you'd have to go to the 1 or the 2 seed.
Yeah.
You'd be on the road again.
Yeah.
It's possible in the NFC Championship game.
Right.
You could host a home game, but unlikely.
Could we call it Bring It Home? Because the last time we called it Bring It Home, we ended up watching from home, but that's another story in itself. So this is important enough where these games, if you feel there's a big difference between 1 and 5, and I do think there's a big difference. There's not a big difference between 3 and 4, 5 and 6, even 5, 6, and 7. Once you're a wild card, you're a wild card, right? I mean, I suppose you'd rather be 5 than 6 or 7, but still, it's you want to win.
This year, I don't think it matters a whole lot. I don't think there's a huge difference between your 2 seed and your 3, 4, 5 seeds.
I'm with you there. So, and I think we agreed with that yesterday. It's pretty wide open on the top. I think we both thought that really the teams that probably I think it's probably going to be one of these 4 teams. I think that comes out of the North. That's either going or the NFC. It's either going to be Philadelphia, Minnesota, Green Bay, or the Rams is what I think. I'm not trying to dismiss Tampa Bay. I suppose Tampa Bay, and Washington's a pretty good club. They've been hot and cold, but so that I think that is important. So yeah, I guess the Vikings probably feel like if a guy can go, you got to play him. News broke. Was it yesterday? It was after we got off the air. Kirk Cousins being benched.
Yes.
By the Atlanta Falcons. And they'll go with their first-round draft pick, selected 8th overall, I believe. Is it Penix?
Michael Penix Jr.
Tell me about him again. Really old. He's already eligible for Social Security. He's 46 years old. He's played college football for 25 years. He won all 4 years, right? So he's an older guy. Is that correct?
He went more than 4 years. I think he was a 23, 24-year-old.
Okay.
I think Bo Nix is the oldest, if I recall. I think he was 24. Penix, I believe, is 23. I could look it up, I guess, for certainty. He played at Washington last year. They had a very successful season. A couple of his wide receivers are, in the National Football League right now with Rome Odunze in Chicago.
Okay.
Jalen McMillan has had a couple good games in a row now for Tampa Bay as a rookie wide receiver. And then Jalen Polk hasn't done as much, but he got drafted relatively highly by the New England Patriots. So he had three wide receivers on that team last year that was one of the best offensive teams in football. He's left-handed, so I don't know how much that changes things in terms of the offense and your coverage and stuff like that. But yeah, he was as pro-ready as any of them,
right,
coming out of college. So this isn't even with J.J. McCarthy, the question was, well, he was extremely young. Is he ready now? Is he going to be a developmental quarterback a year or two? Penix should be ready. He should be good to go.
There are several. I'm sure there are a lot of people that are still scratching their heads, rolling their eyes, shrugging their shoulders, the whole thing, regarding Atlanta's whole strategy going into last off season. I don't think the Vikings could agree to the deal with the Falcons any faster than they did, right? They were just delighted that Kirk was going to go elsewhere, correct? I mean, they did not want him anymore, right?
I don't know if they were delighted. It sounded like they had given him an offer. They just didn't want to commit to him long term like Atlanta was.
Well, they should have been delighted. I think you and I, we were pretty consistent on this all the time. We liked Kirk as a quarterback, thought he had a lot of skills, but just never that guy that you thought could lead a team deep into the playoffs. The Falcons' strategy obviously had to have been they thought they were a quarterback away. They had some nice offensive pieces. I think their defense was pretty good. I'm sure Arthur, we talked about this a couple of times. I'm sure Arthur Blank is just dying to get to another big game. They were so close. They had New England on the ropes 6-7 years ago? Was that his last big game that he won with the Patriots and then went to Tampa Bay? Or was there another one between that and Tampa Bay? I don't recall. But they were done. Was it like 25-3? 28-3.
Yeah.
It was over. I mean, and that was fairly deep into the game. It wasn't like that was a halftime score. I think that was like late third quarter.
Yeah.
And the Patriots rallied back to win. So I'm sure Arthur Blank was sold on the idea either by the general manager or the coach. Maybe they all got together and said, let's go ahead and give it a shot. This guy's pretty good. They saw something they liked, I guess. And when you watch Cousins play in the 13-4 season, he was really good on a number of occasions, especially in the greatest comeback in the history of pro football. So I didn't think it was a great move by Atlanta at the time. I did support most people were surprised and thought it was a mistake selecting the Penix character. I guess they figured you've already invested in your quarterback, and you could use that draft pick to, in another spot, right? You could draft a receiver, running back, linebacker, defensive back, lineman, whatever the case may be. I was one of the few that supported the decision. It goes back to my thinking with the circumstance might not be exactly similar, but when Green Bay selected Jordan Love, there were those that thought, especially Aaron Rodgers, I don't think there's any secret. He was bitter about it. He wanted another wide receiver. They thought their window was still open there. And I have this theory, and I've espoused it many times, and I've said it. I've talked more about this than I have the Lions' injuries. The general manager, it's his responsibility to take care of the franchise. And so if you think you got a quarterback out there, if you're looking at Penix and think, now, and I get that the comeback to that could be, well, Penix probably more NFL ready than any other guy. Why don't you just draft Penix and start him this year? Well, there's still a learning curve with these rookie quarterbacks. Take a look at Caleb Williams and some of the others. So it's looking now after as bad as Cousins has been, and that's a blunder on their part. But I think having Penix on the roster now bodes well for them. Would you agree?
Well, let me read these 3 tweets I read from something called Adam Harstead today that I thought made a lot of sense on this topic.
All right.
Adam wrote, some might suggest that drafting Penix made no sense after signing Kirk, or that signing Kirk made no sense if they were going to draft Penix. Both moves were smart. Every quarterback is Schrodinger's quarterback, simultaneously the guy and not the guy until observation collapses to one reality. Smart teams avoid binary thinking. It's not we already have our guy against we need to get our guy. Smart teams think probabilistically. There's a 40% chance we have our guy, but by taking another swing, we can increase to a 70% chance we have our guy. And you got to have your guy to compete. So even marginal gains in the chances of getting a guy are worth a great deal. Even if it increases the odds, people will make fun of you in December. And I thought that made a lot of sense that, when they signed Kirk Cousins, it appeared as if they had the guy they wanted moving forward.
Yeah.
But as we know, that's not a slam dunk. It's not 100% that Kirk Cousins is going to be their guy. So you're backing yourself up from a probability standpoint by drafting someone else, increasing the chances you're going to have your guy.
Yes, exactly. And I like the way he said that.
It made a lot of sense.
And maybe I didn't think it exactly that way or say it that way, but that's sort of how I felt about it. It's similar to, when you were talking, let's go back to Lions football, because I think our listeners love the Lions talk. I'm getting a lot of text messages from people that love the new segment called Lions Lair. When Campbell went for the onside kick with 12 minutes to go, down 10, and people thought it was the stupidest decision ever made in the history of pro football. And I said, well, I didn't think it was that bad because they weren't able to stop Buffalo. And then your explanation was really good, and it was echoed by other people that were saying, that I read, that were saying the exact same thing. That's like, you're willing to give up. If the bad part is he slapped the ball to himself and got it to the 5.
Worst case scenario took place. Yes.
Normal circumstances, you're going to fall on the ball. And Campbell and company were thinking, we're willing to give up 25 to 35 yards for a chance to get the ball back because we can't
save the time.
To save the time and all this. And
it was a 10-point game at the time. So if you give up a field goal, it's still a 2-possession game, and not as much time was taken off the clock.
Exactly. So it really, in all honesty, it was a great decision. To be honest, I think it was a really good decision. So for those of you that didn't understand it and thought it was stupid and the coach doesn't know what he's doing, stick to Minnesota Timberwolves general managers from the past. I mean, this was not that bad of a decision. But
whenever there's a decision that goes against conventional wisdom or how it's always been done, and it doesn't go right, people accuse that of being an idiotic decision.
That is correct. That is absolutely correct. Wolves tomorrow night, a return of Bodega Cat. There was a piece in the Fish Wrap Factory West Side this morning. Maybe it may have appeared last night, but I saw it this morning for the first time. They talked with Gobert and Conley about, what was it like to return to a city in which you had played so many years? They say it is very emotional. They say both Gobert and Conley said that when you've played, and they were both Utah guys, because didn't Conley play most of his career in Utah as well?
I felt like he'd been around a little bit.
Maybe he'd been around. Anyway, you spend so much time in a certain city like Gobert did, and when you go back, and generally, especially if you get a warm reception, which I'm assuming Bodega Cat.
Yeah, he played in Memphis for almost a decade, and then Utah for 4 years.
That's right. It was Memphis. And when he returned to Memphis, that's what he said was, you start thinking about all the great times you had there, and, the moments you had with all your teammates and this and the city and all that. Gobert did the old... I think it was Gobert went with the old, it was weird walking to a different locker. Maybe he did need somebody to guide him to the right locker. Because remember, that's what they said about
Hawkinson.
Was that at Hawkinson that the Vikings actually
go to the wrong sideline?
Yeah, the Vikings had one guy basically hold Hawkinson's hand and take him to the sideline. It was almost like a chaperone. And take him to the sideline, take him to the right locker room. And I'm sure the emotions will be with Bodega Cat because guys are laying it on the line. He did lay it on the line. Whatever you say about, he had his issues. We know it. Whines a lot. Well, they all do in the NBA. He seemed to be more than most. Defensively, he had some issues. He didn't always make the critical shot when he needed to. But I think for the most part, I think most people. I think I asked you yesterday. I'm assuming he'll get a warm welcome, don't you think? I don't think he won't get booed.
Yes, no.
There might be a rube or two that'll boo him. But
he didn't demand a trade. Right. He didn't leave in free agency to go somewhere, right? Like even Cousins left on his own volition to a certain extent. So you expected some boos there. Big Meow was just a week before the season. We were expecting him to be a part of our team, and he got sent away. Yeah, exactly. And Gobert had some awfully nice things. The one thing it does seems like Big Meow, or Bodega Cat, as we call him now, he does seem to be, I don't know about an ideal teammate, but a good teammate, because the quotes from Gobert today were about how, think about, and I guess you could say Bodega Cat had no choice when they, because Gobert said, he moved to the 4 so I could have the 5. Well, he probably didn't have a choice in that either. It's not like you go, well, we just got Gobert. Would you mind moving to the 4? And if he said no, they said, well, tough luck, you're going to play the 4. But he did it without complaining about it. He told Gobert, he said all the right things to him. I want to help you acclimate here and be a good teammate, and we'll work together. And sometimes guys don't do that, right? They get bitter. So, so I think he'll get a warm round of applause. It'll be emotional.
It will be emotional. One more text message said, just because Kirk got benched doesn't make the Penix pick a smart move. He could still be bad. Yeah, he could. There's no guarantees with any of these guys.
I would just read a whole thing about the probabilities.
Yeah, right.
It increases your probabilities that the other guy doesn't. It's not a certainty.
Yeah.
It's not a slam dunk.
They're still better having, I would say, having Penix on the roster right now than if they didn't have him, because who would they be turning to right now? Josh Freeman.
Is likely to be better than the guy who's had 1 touchdown and 9 interceptions over like his last 5-6 games.
That is correct. Again, here's what we need to tell people. Leave the sports expertise and analyst at 10 and B. Now, we understand the game.
I always love that
We
one.
think deeply and we understand the game better than most. We'll take a break, and when we return, the legendary Mark Rosen will join us. We'll see what he has to say about dis, dat, and lat right here on the Fan.
The only thing better than the holidays are holidays packed with NFL games. Kicking off Thursday, December 19th with an AFC West showdown.
Touchdown Chargers!
Then a Saturday doubleheader. 12 games Sunday with a battle in Lambeau on Monday night.
Oh, what a play! What a catch!
And a Christmas Day doubleheader for the ages on Netflix.
Oh, sweet Marie!
That's how the NFL does the holidays.
You wake up, put on your Ray-Ban Meta glasses. You're living all in. You realize you need coffee. So you say,
"Hey, Meta, how do I make a latte?"
Brew 2 shots of espresso.
after Meta AI gets you caffeinated, you're ready for some beats.
Hey, Meta, play hip-hop music.
You head to meet some friends, but can't remember the place.
Hey, Meta, call Eva.
Ray-Ban Meta glasses, the next generation of AI glasses. Just say, hey, Meta, to harness the power of Meta AI. Shop now at meta.com/smartglasses.
The most wonderful time of the year. Although, let's be honest, around the holidays, things really add up. But here's the good news. Only at Verizon, you can get a single line for $50 per month when you switch and bring your phone. So while ice skating for 2 is definitely costing more, here at Verizon, you can save. Gifts for your third cousins? Steep. A single line with Verizon? Not so steep. A real tree? Pricey. A single line with Verizon? Less pricey. Flights to see Mima and Pops? Those are up. A $50 per month single line? That's down. Even a trip to the Atlanta Holiday Market will cost you more. But with Verizon, you can switch and bring your phone for just $50 per month for a single line on unlimited welcome, with autopay plus taxes and fees. All this to say, during the holiday season, when everything is costing more, you can get more for less right now at a local Verizon store. $15 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G, 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.